Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple. Liverpool hosted Chelsea at Anfield in a crucial Premier League match that would help determine Champions League qualification as well as the title. The match ended 2-0 thanks to a Mane close-range header and a strike by Salah from distance. Liverpool were clinical and Chelsea were wasteful, as Liverpool finished with an XG of 1.12 whereas Chelsea's was 1.22. Both coaches used interesting tactical choices, which we'll get into. But just before then, if you're new around here, I'd appreciate it if you liked, subscribed, and shared the video as we're trying to grow the channel. We want this channel to be a community where you can send in questions that I go do videos on. So if you have any suggestions, tweet at FootballMadeSim. Right, let's get into the good stuff. We'll start with the lineups. Liverpool lined up on paper in their usual 4-3-3. Van Dijk and Matip at the heart of defense, with Alexander-Arnold and Robertson flanking. At the base of midfield was Fabinho, with Naby Keita and Henderson either side. And up top was that famous front three of Salah, Mane and Firmino. Chelsea matched them up with a nominal 4-3-3 of their own. Azpilicueta and Emerson were the fullbacks, with Rudiger and Luiz central. The midfield trio was Jorginho, Kante and Loftus-Cheek, whilst the front three was Willian, Hazard and Hudson-Odoi. Now, let's take a look at the in-game tactics, focusing on the four main areas of tactical periodization. These areas are defensive organization, defensive transition, offensive transition, and offensive organization. Let's see how Liverpool's attack interacted with Chelsea's defense. When Liverpool were in a steady build-up phase, they tended to drop their two centre-backs and take them slightly wide. Fabinho would drop slightly, but not in between the centre-backs, in order to maintain a diamond, which helped them to play out of the back. The Liverpool fullbacks would go slightly up the pitch, but usually not into the opponent's half in this phase. This was because Chelsea used three forwards who were quick on the break, and would be able to exploit the space if they were caught high up the pitch. During this phase, Chelsea's defense would press but not as a unit. When defending high, they generally operated with a 4-2-3-1, with Hazard trying to cut passing lanes to one side of the pitch, and one of the midfield three moving up the pitch. In this phase, the Liverpool centre-backs deliberately held onto the ball for slightly longer than usual. Whilst Hazard cut off one of the lanes, this forced the Chelsea winger on the side of the ball up, meaning their pressing shape was more of a 4-4-2 which played into Liverpool's hands. This is because their wingers could come central in this phase, helping them to have greater numbers in the centre of midfield to hold onto the ball. This is notable as Liverpool had more possession. Moving into the next phase of play, Liverpool used a number of tactics for chance creation. Having progressed the ball into midfield, the Liverpool midfield would move to one side of the pitch, for example the right hand side. At the same time, Mane would be sure to tuck in central, which would help draw Azpilicueta with him. You can see how central he is at times on his heat map. This would free up Robertson to move into the space, as you can see his attacking heat map. At the same time, Keita would move into the inner left channel, which would make Hudson-Odoi make a choice: track Robertson or track Keita. Keita in this position would also facilitate a multi-phase switch, which is several quick passes to make a switch across the pitch, if they didn't switch the ball directly. The ball would get to Robertson, as his heat map shows in space, allowing him to cross into the attackers who would have the run on the centre-backs. The same play could be repeated on the other side. In this phase, Chelsea would want to hold a 4-3-3 or a 4-5-1, but the switch of play meant they were often caught out of position. Liverpool were also always sure to use midfield runners to add to the attack. They would break into the box both on crosses to help add numbers as well as during general play. In general play, this would attract Chelsea players, which would help free up either Salah or Mane or the fullbacks on the wing. Their heavy crossing strategy can be shown by Liverpool attempting 24 crosses to Chelsea's 8. Their tactical decisions resulted in both of their goals. For Mane's goal, Henderson can be seen breaking into the box to add a midfield presence, whilst on the far side, Mane and Keita on the inside left with Robertson free. Keita's movement on the left-hand side draws Azpilicueta's attention, preventing him from picking up Mane on the back post. Salah's goal is a great strike, but don't underestimate the thinking behind it. Van Dijk draws the Chelsea press, which frees the Liverpool midfield. He implements a direct switch to shift Chelsea's defense. The midfield runners are a big factor, seen here taking away a man to disrupt Chelsea's 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3. The man who was taken away would have prevented Salah from cutting in for his goal. After they scored, Chelsea had to come out to get the goal, and Liverpool's wingers used basic out-to-in movements to try get onto balls in behind. But how did Chelsea aim to attack, and what was Liverpool's defensive answer? Their front three didn't contain a recognised striker. This was a clear pointer to their plan to hit Liverpool on the break. They managed to do this on occasion. Their main play was to progress the ball to Eden Hazard, who would drop off of his marker. He would then turn or offload the ball to a midfielder depending on whether he had been tracked or not, before the ball was moved on to their wingers on the inside channels. However, Liverpool defended from the front to counter this most of the time. By using a high press, they forced Chelsea to go long, as shown by their numerous clearances. This often led to Hazard competing aerially with Van Dijk and Matip, which would only lead to one result, as Hazard won 0 duels. At times, Chelsea shifted Loftus-Cheek up to compete for the ball, but with him moving out of position, they had less numbers to compete for the second ball. Once Higuain came on, Chelsea created more chances due to a shift in tactics. As Higuain was the central focus, it freed up Eden Hazard to make runs. With Liverpool pressing high, Higuain would drop into midfield, attracting the centre-back's attention as shown by his heat map. This would allow Hazard to make runs in behind and resulted in 2 big chances, but ultimately it was to no avail. Overall, Liverpool's use of midfield runners to overload the box whilst freeing up the crossing fullbacks was enough to guarantee a win. Both teams still have all to play for in the league if they're to meet their respective goals. If you enjoyed this video, you'll also enjoy the tactical reviews of the European matches just gone by, so check that out. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. And remember, keep it simple.